The U.S. Supreme Court is facing a case about Harvard University's admission policy that considers race in its selections. The High Court has asked the U.S. Justice Department for input. University of Kentucky professor Gregory Vincent says it's important for the court to seek the administration's views.
I think getting some sense of what the administration is thinking, particularly administration that has a focus on education, I think is interesting. And it's good that they're getting that viewpoint, especially when you're reviewing a recent precedent.
5 years ago, Vincent was a spokesperson at the University of Texas, Austin, when the school was sued over its affirmative action policies.
What we were able to persuasively argue is that diversity is a compelling interest in higher education, that all students benefit from a robust and diverse learning environment, that it was a national security imperative, and it advanced good business.
The attorney who represented a student against the University of Texas after she was denied admission said affirmative action is biased.
We have said in our briefs, and certainly we've said all along, that race is an odious classification. To do it for reasons that are not compelling and are not established by the evidence and were not the basis of decision is inappropriate.
The U.S. Supreme Court held then in 2016 that using race in admissions decisions is lawful. But now, those who support affirmative action are concerned that the High Court's 6-3 conservative majority could end it. Julie Park is an associate professor of education and advised Harvard on its defense. She says if the lawsuit against Harvard is victorious, it could have a devastating impact on minority students.
It would be disastrous for African American, Latinx, Indigenous communities within higher education, both at Harvard specifically, but then also writ large across the country, both in public institutions and private institutions.
If you take race out of the equation, it disproportionately impacts African American students, Latino students, students from low socioeconomic backgrounds. The traditional measures of so-called merit, like grades and test scores, disproportionately favor students who come from affluent backgrounds who go to high-resource schools.
The lawsuit is led by Edward Bloom, a legal strategist from Texas. Bloom enlisted a group of unnamed Asian American students in the suit. They say that affirmative action suppresses Asian American enrollment in favor of other minorities. But a 2020 survey showed that 70% of Asian Americans support affirmative action.
I've seen Asian Americans who are just confused. We're a diverse community in every way. And so I think you have a variety of reactions.
Vincent says there is a lack of evidence that Asian Americans are excluded in the admissions process. The justices have postponed the case, but didn't reject it.
But it would just send a message, which I think a troubling message, that this issue is still unresolved.
Connor Smith, VOA News, Washington.